Very much. There are concerns that the suspect is a Somali refugee, that might be warranted, as there's been 10 major terrorism cases brought against legal refugees and legal immigrants just this year in the United States. My next guest says the Ohio State attack has all the hallmarks of terrorism. Founder and president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, Dr. Jasser, joins me now. So let me ask you this. Authorities don't want to say terrorism. They're just saying we're investigating. What tells you this is homegrown terror?
Well, I mean, everything points to that, and my hearts and prayers are with the Ohio State University and all the families, and thank God this person was eliminated. And the bottom line is this has all the hallmarks of the Nice attack. You remember the ISIS journals and online radicalization manuals had said use a vehicle to commit slaughter in large public places. The softer the target, the better. Then we saw in the San Bernardino shootings and in Orlando, softer and softer targets. Then there was the magazine Rumiyya, which came out in October and was talked about online, that it basically said use knives, use any public setting with schools, kids with backpacks, whatever it may be, so that you can commit the slaughter and bring attention to the fact against the West, against the enemies of Islam. And as we saw, one of the things we're seeing with this gentleman is that the precursors of violent radicalization are nonviolent radicalization, fears of the West media, of using terms like Islamophobia and other aspects that make Muslims separate out of society and head them on that path towards radicalization.
Well, does part of your theory on this, and we should say, of course, it's early going, this just happened this morning, but that the fact that he did spend time in Pakistan, that he was quoted, as our correspondent just mentioned, saying that he was scared to pray on the campus in Ohio. Does that kind of lead you to believe that there's more here than what authorities are telling us?
Well, again, like you said, a lot of this right now is we're trying to put the pieces together, but it doesn't help anyone for us to be in any denial. And it's apparent, as we see with the Boston bombers, as we see with many of these folks in Orlando. They had traveled to Saudi Arabia, to Pakistan. This family had gone from Somalia to Pakistan, then to Ohio, and where he went to school since 2014. So the radicalization process started with likely with an anti-Americanism before even coming here, and this is why this discussion is so important. We need to be vetting them, not only if they were part of terror groups, but are they anti-American? What do they view this society? Is it something they're embracing, or is it something they're afraid of and feel like it's not part of their identity? Which I think a lot of the things, as we learn about Mr. Artan more and more, will become likely apparent that he really did not feel that this was his home.
And he didn't feel welcome here, and therefore potentially attacked. Just a couple of months ago, let me ask you this. ISIS had called for random knife attacks in alleys, forests, beaches, quiet neighborhoods. They've always talked about soft targets here and in Europe. Could this be a part of that strategy from ISIS?
Exactly, and the reason they use that strategy, and by the way, when we talk about them, telling them that they're more afraid, well, that doesn't make the onus on Americans. It's their onus, because they are trying to radicalize Muslims, and they tell them to do these very soft targets because they're realizing the Homeland Security is squeezing them more and more, and they have to use victims of opportunity, which are in public spaces. So they want to unravel our society from within, and the way to do that is at healthcare facilities like at San Bernardino, or the National Guard recruiting places like in Chattanooga, or the bar like in Orlando. These are no longer the hard targets, which are no longer accessible to them. They simply want to get on the front page and commit heinous acts of terror, and that's what this is. And we need to start looking at earlier precursors before they pick up the knives and launch into an attack like this man did
looking
today.
At their social media chatter, and I hate to say profiling, but that may be down the line possibly. Well, Dr. Jasser, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your time tonight.
Anytime. Thanks for